because we believe there's going to be some false flag attack in the U.S., maybe a bomb going off and blaming it off migrants from Venezuela or some Latin American country. Our predictions for the U.S. is we're going to enter kinetic civil war soon, like a revolution, because like Trump's already planning to cease sending troops to Portland to harm Antifa people, which, I mean, isn't free speech protected? Like, and people can express their opinions. Like, regardless of however people feel, like, we are supposed to have free speech here, but, we decry that.
Welcome to Discourse with Christian. I'm your host, Christian White, and today's guests are Tony and Derek Enciso of Pigos Trading Desk. They are also the authors of the book, The Divided States of America. Tony, Derek, great to see you guys again. How you been?
Been
Doing
great,
good, brother.
How
Lots
you
of stuff
doing?
going on around the world. I figured we'd start off with your latest thoughts.
You first.
Oh, me. Well, right now, it seems like everything is going to hell. I mean, we have Pete Hegseth getting like all the admirals and everybody together to start like talking about war. It looks like we're going to go to war with maybe Venezuela. We've been bombing these boats and things like that. So, I mean, it looks like we're in for a crazy time coming up. I mean, I don't see how the economy is going to go. We think that it's going to collapse pretty soon. We see like a 10 to 15% drop, right? 20%.
Well, we
maybe?
see a 10% drop by the end of the year.
Yeah.
And then it's going to have a slight bounce, and then it's going to roll over next year, because historically recessions begin slightly in an odd year and they go into full collapse in an even year. And it's always under a Republican administration. Historically, the last one, 2020, was under Trump. 2019 it started, 2020 began. Before that, it started under Bush. 2007 it started. 2008 it began. Bush was still president March 2008. Obama took over in November, if people don't remember that. And then before that, you had the dot-com bubble. That was Bush in 01, 2002. It dropped. I can keep going forever. Like, it's always under Republicans. They always bring in, like, the economy collapse into surveillance state. That's what Republicans do. Not that liberals are any fucking better, We live in California, so we know liberals ain't no fucking better, but at least, we don't push surveillance tech. We push, like, drugs and, like, men being women and women being men and, like, stupid shit like that.
Yeah.
But overall...
go ahead.
I was going to say, but overall, like, we're very bearish on the economy. Like, we've been telling you for a while, war with Venezuela, and that seems to be manifesting. We see a war with Iran. We see a bomb being detonated in the U.S. as a false flag, potentially in October, because there are such things called kill dates. And the kill date is, I believe, October 9th.
Yeah, the 9th.
So we are watching, because we believe there's going to be some false flag attack in the U.S., maybe a bomb going off and blaming it off migrants from Venezuela or some Latin American country, and then you're going to have Trump go, you see, these guys are a threat. This is the worst thing since 9/11, and, this would have never happened if I was in charge. It would have never happened. They wouldn't have been allowed in this country. It wouldn't happen. It'd be great. It still fucking happened under your watch, dude. Like, just shut your fucking mouth, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, you guys, sounds like you're following it a bit more than I am as far as the Venezuela stuff goes. But false flag attacks are, of course, things that we've experienced in the past over the years, and yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. So you're looking at some type of a conflict going on over in Venezuela. How about over in Europe and other parts of the world, like the Middle East?
Yeah, I think when you came on ours, we talked about like that we think that they're going to do Iran, right? We think Iran's going to be one of the ones that they're going to try to attack. We see like them going for a regime change because we truly believe that this is all part of an antichrist type thing, right? Like a dark enlightenment. You got dark MAGA that was talked about with Elon Musk, and look who came back onto the scene now, Elon Musk. Who else came back onto the scene? Tucker Carlson. These are all people a part of this dark enlightenment. If you look up this dark enlightenment, you're going to see some liberals that are pushing it also, but you got to look more past that and look past them and what they're saying, because they also push a narrative. They push a side. You have to look at it both sides. You have to look at what the right is pushing and what the left is pushing, and you have to find in the middle, because basically the truth is in the middle. And yeah, it's just, we see this going into like a dark enlightenment. We see that's what it is, and we think it's all to build up this antichrist type thing, which you see Peter Thiel talking about. He keeps saying that if you regulate AI, which it sounds stupid as hell, if you regulate AI, it's going to cause the antichrist. And like, it's like, unless you're putting all these stupid ass regulations on there, it shouldn't cause an antichrist. You're trying to bring in the antichrist, and we believe that the antichrist is the Shah of Iran's son, Reza, and we believe that that's who they're trying to bring in to fill in for this. What is the guy's name? The Iran
Ayatollah.
The Ayatollah, yeah.
And remember, the Ayatollah is like the Pope. but for the Muslim people. So anything that happens to them, like Albert Pike wrote, the last war will be between the Zionists and the Muslims. So this is what they're manifesting. And in terms of like where we're heading, it is the dark enlightenment. Like that's what TikTok, Larry Ellison, like they're always been saying, oh, TikTok's Chinese. No, it's not. It's never been. It's always been Oracle. And now they're officially announcing like it's Larry Ellison. Larry Ellison's a huge funder of Israel, massive funder of Israel. Like this is about, like you said, you're gonna have a little camera watching your shit the whole time.
Yeah.
Well, guess what you have? You have the box. That cell phone is the box. This is my brain. This is your brain on the box. Like at the end of the day, it's to harvest your data, harvest your thoughts, learn who the fuck you are, and then just pretty much absorb all that so they can become more clever criminals, learning like what ticks you off and how to really trigger you, what's your vices, so they can be the most clever criminals in the world. You can't do a damn thing because you're always looking and pointing at the next guy instead of who it is.
And then who do you have right now trying to purchase TikTok? And you have the deal almost going through. It's Larry Ellison with Oracle.
So it's been TikTok.
And then like you just had Netanyahu, we were just listening to it right now. He just came out, I think it was today, and talked about that like weapons change in war, right? And he's talking about that TikTok and X are two of the most critical weapons. And he says that Elon's his best friend and that Elon's not an enemy and that Larry Ellison is basically not his enemy either. And this is all Larry Ellison talked about that probably last year around September 24th, that he said that everyone's going to be walking around with the camera on their person and that you're going to be at your best behavior, which this is shit that's been pushed by the World Economic Forum and the like since like 2016, I believe, in the the fourth industrial revolution. It was talked about. This is where we're getting all of our information from the World Economic Forum. This is what these idiot Trump supporters continue to believe, that they're not part of the World Economic Forum and that he's fighting it. He's fighting the deep state.
60 chess.
But they're ignorant and they're retarded and they think that like he's really fighting it and really he's pushing them into it and they're parading it and they're proud of it and they're happy of it. And they continuously like call ICE and all this on these people, and they're trying to get rid of all these illegal immigrants when some of these immigrants are not the bad people. We need to get rid of the bad ones, not all of them. And you're ruining people's lives by doing this. And these Trump supporters just continuing to like be happy about it and parade it, and it's wrong. And this country is just so divided. And now you have the Charlie Kirk bullshit happening. Look at his wife. Look what his wife's doing. His wife doesn't seem like she's mourning. It doesn't seem like she really cares. It seems like she's involved in it. It seems like there's either if he really is dead, it seems like she's involved. And there's also things that you could question a lot of things that happen on that day if you watch the videos. There's multiple videos that you can see different things. Some guys picking up things, someone handing off things in front of each other. There's a lot of questions that rise from that Charlie Kirk video and from his wife, and then from just the what is it? Her name is Erica, which is it's spelled the same way as a Nazi anthem. You have the Nazi red in the back of the truth. What is it? What is this thing? The turning point. It's all Nazi red. You have the Jimmy Kimmel. He films his thing inside a Masonic temple, which has red things coming down. It looks like a Nazi building. It looks all Nazi. Everything looks Nazi. This country is turning Nazi. This is what this Trump regime is. It's basically turning us into a neo-Nazi. We're going all full Nazi in this country, and we're going to be the rise of the Fourth Reich. And I believe the United States is the rise of the Fourth Reich.
Wow. Okay. Well, there's a lot to unpack there. Okay. How about this? Can you unpack that more as far as this kind of Nazi,
With
element
pleasure.
that you're alluding to?
So Etika, that's a German word, right? So it's spelled Erika. And the song was a song they would play when they were mowing down Jews. As me as a Jewish guy, I can tell you, like, that's what they played. And it says, like, "Onde weiles du verleinde überall," like, who are you serving? Like, what are you doing, like, forever? And then it's like, "Und das heißt," like, who's this for? Erika, like the land, like the beautiful land. So we believe like this whole thing with the Nazis, because we brought them over with Operation Paperclip, is to fulfill the prophecy that was set forth by the Zionists in the 1800s to summon the Antichrist to bring rulership over the U.S. for 1,000 years, the Dark Ages, like globally. Because according to the Zionists, the Dark Ages are 1,000 years, and we believe they want to bring us into that dark period. And people often mistake Lucifer as this evil thing. Lucifer is not evil. Like, the whole thing that Lucifer is evil is absolutely absurd. Lucifer is the darkness that's inside all of us. The rebellious side, when you rebel against your father, because remember, we are all born from man. We're all born from somebody.
Hang on. Can we stop this?
So that was what they did when they were mowing down the Jews. They played Erica, right? And it talks about like how beautiful the land is, who do you serve, and how do you get longevity. Now, with America, we did Operation Paperclip. We brought all these people over, the Nazi scientists, Werner von Braun, Oppenheimer. All the great Nazi scientists ended up in the U.S., including Einstein, right? So the U.S. is just a continuation of the Fourth Reich. We are the Fourth Reich, which is why we have these Aryan people in charge. Look at Donald Trump, right? Blonde hair, blue eyes. Pam Bondi, right? Caroline Levitt, who looks like the Babylon, always wearing fucking red,
And then what did NATO? NATO started when it started. It was all like
Nazi
Nazis.
generals.
It was all head Nazis, top Nazis. That's what NATO was when it first started. That's all it was. It was all Nazis. And the United States was the one pretty much start that, right?
Ehrenbach, right? Ehrenbach was one of the heads, right? And he was one of the first presidents of Germany after the Nazi regime collapsed. And he was the one that got Germany into NATO, right? But it was all NATO. It was all Nazi officers. So our predictions for the U.S. is we're going to enter kinetic civil war soon, like a revolution, because Trump's already planning to cease sending troops to Portland to harm Antifa people, which, I mean, isn't free speech protected? And people can express their opinions, regardless of however people feel, we are supposed to have free speech here, but we decry that there are people that say hate speech. What's hate speech? Is hate speech I can't stand this person? Well, hate speech is still protected under the fucking First Amendment. It doesn't say you can't say hateful things. It doesn't say you can't say whatever you feel. I mean, in China, I can say whatever the fuck I want. No one's going to say shit in China. I have free speech in China. I have free will in China. I can do whatever I want. But yet all the American people say, oh, China's communist. No, it's not, dude. You are absolutely wrong. I lived in China, man. I can tell you it's very free there. I mean, you take your pick. It's there's more freedom in China that's allotted to their people than the United States. The United States is just a fucking illusion, a bunch of fucking lies. And that's what Dark Enlightenment is. Dark Enlightenment essentially is we are going to lie to your fucking face and tell you XYZ. And we're not even going to give you XYZ. We're going to give you Omicron, Theta, Than, and fucking all this stupid shit that has no association with X, Y, and Z. And you're going to eat it up because you're a fucking dumb little shit who doesn't know a damn thing. You're going to believe every sentiment I tell you because you can't think critically for yourself. You can't think profoundly, which is why we wrote the box. The box is the article I think I sent to you. Literally, you live in the box. That cell phone is the box. The Harvest Your Thoughts. That TV is the box. It tells you what to think. The newsprint is a part of the box because you're reading it and somebody's programming you to think a certain thing. Yet you don't meditate. You don't take long walks. You don't walk in the wilderness and get connected to God and the inner source.
Okay, that's a lot to take in there. Okay, so this Dark Enlightenment stuff. Help me understand this. Where you're coming from.
So it's basically it's basically the World Economic Forum. It's basically what Elon Musk's grandfather Joshua Heldman was trying to do back then, right? It's a technocratic control. Basically, everything's going to be monitored, like the World Economic Forum's been saying since 2016 or 2015, whenever they started saying it. You're going to be monitored. It's going to be like a carbon-based system. Here in the United States, we believe this is going to be mostly Western-based only. We don't believe that China's going to have it. They have a social credit score, but it's different from what ours is going to be. Ours is going to be carbon-based. So everything you're wearing right now, that jacket you have on, the shirt you have on, you're going to have to probably tell them that you have it. All those books behind you, you're going to have to tell them that you have it. That picture behind you, you're going to have to tell them that you have it. All that's going to be added up into your carbon that you put out for the year. Everything you eat, every time you take a shit, every time you breathe, your carbon is going to be traced. Every time you leave your house, you're going to be traced as to how much carbon you're wasting. If you leave the city, you're going to be told you cannot leave the city. We'll be in freedom cities, 15-minute cities. That's probably what's going to come. Who knows when it will actually happen? You have some being built now. You actually have some that are already built. And then you have the Saudi Arabia thing, the big thing. That's basically like a freedom city too. It's going to be controlled. Everything's going to be monitored. We're all going in to just be monitored. It's basically the Lorax. We're all being put into this thing, and you're being taken away from everyone. It's the Lorax. It's Blade Runner. It's all these movies in one being put. We're being thrown into it. Where it's becoming a reality. It's no longer fiction.
Not only that, you have hyper-acceleration, which is an acceleration of expenditures and everything into technology. You have hyperstition, which is pretty much like cybernetics and creating the Planet of the Apes, essentially, which is coming. We're going to be followed by Terminator-type drones. That's hyperstition. And then on top of that, you have hyper-financialization, which will create a new demographic of people, which we created, and we talked about hyper-poverty. And hyper-poverty is essentially where everything is tokenized and everything is fractionalized. You're going to be borrowing and paying later with the fucking XRP or fucking XLM, whatever bullshit token you're going to be associated with, and the CEO who you're going to worship. A lot of people believe in XRP. I actually told somebody XRP ain't going to do shit. I'll bet gold on it. XRP didn't do shit. So I keep my gold. But anyways, I digress. The point here is Brad Garlinghouse is the CEO. They're going to worship as God because there's a saying: if knowledge is power, then a God am I. And AI and all this technology has all the knowledge, has my knowledge, has his knowledge, has your knowledge, and to the viewers, it has your fucking knowledge too. So they are the gods. They have every little bit of information in the world. So you have to worship them. And it's talked about in Dark Enlightenment when Nick Land said, you will worship the god of your choosing. Like Elon, he was in charge of Doge, right? What's Doge there to do? Destroy the old system, right? Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. Well, these government agencies, you got all these people working here. Like, look at, what did he fire from? Like state departments and shit like that? Oh, like, why are we having all these people here? We need to get rid of them. Like, well, you're destroying the old establishment and bringing in the new, which is the technocratic one where you bring in artificial intelligence, right? So you destroy that. How do you destroy Social Security? Well, you cut people, you lay people off, you destroy the old system, and you bring in the new, which would be what? Stable coins. Stable coins would be the new. So you would be worshiping these people, right? So, it is what it is. And that's the game we're playing. So they're going to have you worship these gods. They're going to have you believe whatever fiction they say, because sixth generation warfare is social media. It is information war. And those people who have the ability to think profoundly need shared profound thoughts, as Socrates would say, And those who are unable to think profound, they should just look deeper inside and talk to those who are able to think profound and come to a resolution and a distinction of where we are heading as a society. Because we're heading for a climatic event, and most people are going to be caught off sides, but that's why we're preparing, with our strategy in the market on how to not be caught off sides. That's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, gotcha on that front. How about how about specifically over in Europe? As it relates to, I guess, the rhetoric. This has been a few days now. Trump speaking to the UN and kind of doing a reversal, backing Ukraine. Backing Ukraine and wanting to take back territory that territory that Russia now possesses and that Ukraine at one point apparently had. It's looking like things are just going to get kinetic with NATO and Russia.
That was always the plan, because what did these Zionists and what did these neocons want? They want to destroy Russia. Why? Russia has trillions of dollars, richest country in the world, right? It's huge. And Siberia alone is the wealthiest area in the world. Like, all the riches in Siberia, people want that because it's permafrost, everything's preserved. So the United States believes, like Napoleon believed, like Hitler believed, like all the people of the past, you can go all the way back to Richard III, believe, oh, we can destroy Russia, we can take all their resources. Well, the problem is, you can't. Nobody succeeded. Japan couldn't succeed. Most people don't even know the true history of World War II, how the Soviets defeated the Japanese, not America. America was only fighting 10% of the Japanese, and we dropped the nuke because they were kicking our ass. The Soviets got rid of them. China got rid of them. 80% of the troops were actually in China for the Japanese Imperial Army. Nobody talks about it, but that's the reality. America has a lot of myth. And now we're telling the myth Ukraine can beat Russia. They can't. Russia has been kicking their ass out of the dotted Dixon line forever. And Russia is now a trained army in full-fledged kinetic conflict against NATO weapons. Like, you don't think they're not strategized and ready to take on the US or Europe? They're trained. Like, we haven't trained for their weapons. Our troops ain't on the front lines learning Russian weapons and what the Russians are capable of, but they're on the front lines learning what we're capable of, so they can build up a distinctive strategy to tackle anything the US throws at them. But really, we have no strategy to defend ourselves, because when's the last time we had an attack on the US? We consider 9/11, which that was like a insider type job, but that's controversial to say, but it's kind of true. How does fucking Passport survive Inferno? It can't. So, we'll to stick with the narrative that these planes struck the Twin Towers, and the Twin Towers, that was the last attack on the U.S. soil. There's going to be another one, and it's going to be blamed on probably Venezuela. But we were giving Ukraine, our Muslims, and we were giving Ukraine javelins, right? Trump said, I gave them javelins, Obama gave them sheets. He's been supporting Ukraine the whole time. This was always the plan. The plan has always been to destroy Russia, And they put Zelensky there because Zelensky is a fucking yes man. He's a cokehead. They're like, here, we'll give you some coke, bro. Just say whatever we want you to say. Oh, thank you very much. We will not let Russia get any coastal to land, and we will do this. Like, it's all an act, and it's just serving the fucking neocons, serving the Zionist regime because they think that they have a greater purpose and they're God's chosen people. But unfortunately, we're all God's chosen people. We're all created in the image of God. But these people believe that they are more so. And it's like, no, you're just disillusioned. You're like Satan. You have this fucking ego, this hubris, and you're like denying the Father. And then when Michael said, "Who are you to deny the Father? Cut you like a blade." Not that Michael actually had a blade. That's bullshit. He didn't. It was the words.
And that's how they keep us separated, by dividing their religions, making you think that you're worshiping someone different when we all worship the same God. Even the Quran, it talks about Jesus. It talks about all the same gods, and we all worship the same God. But you keep it divided by that, and then now you have United States saying God's on their side, or whoever the enemy is saying the same exact thing, that God's on their side. When which side is God on? Probably
Yeah,
neither
when the
one.
bullets are flying, you're like, why are they shooting at me? God's on my side. Like, well, they're saying the same exact thing.
Yeah. And God's probably on neither one side, because neither one is trying to keep the peace. You have a bullshit peace president. He's peace president, but yet he's killing people in Iran and Syria, Ukraine, everywhere.
Venezuela.
And then he's calling out Putin for doing it, but yeah, he's doing the same thing, and that doesn't get talked about.
Venezuela striking civilian boats that are fishing boats. You can tell they're fishing boats. Like, who the fuck's going to be on a little buoy bringing drugs across a canal? That buoy can only go 100 miles. It can't go no 1,000 miles to Miami. That's bullshit.
And then in his first term, what did he do? He killed Soleimani. He killed people then too. It's not the first time he's actually killed people. He did it his first administration. He's doing it now. He's doing, I think, a lot more now. He's not a peace president. It's been lies. We've been lied to. This country's full of lies. Basically, you have to do your own research, and you still find a lot of lies.
Yeah, you still have to question your own thoughts, because at the end of the day, who's telling you to have these thoughts? That's why you meditate and you talk to God personally.
Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Yeah, I suspect that we're gonna we are already in a WW3, but I suspect that we're going to see things, really escalate here in the next few months. That'll impact the economy. I mean, I just look at all the cracks going on in the system. I think 9/11 was one facet to this, but really, I would say COVID really kicked it off in recent years. And then you've had a lot of the social unrest going on, from George Floyd to I'm blanking out here. Of course, now recently Kirk, and so I think we're at the end of a cycle, and things are going to get pretty interesting, pretty hairy.
So you talk to a lot of people. Let me ask you some questions. Where do you see the things going within the next 6 months?
As mentioned, I think there's going to be a kinetic direct conflict with NATO and Russia. There's going to be they've got to figure it out. As far as the sovereign debt crisis that France and the UK and other countries are dealing with. So I suspect that in order to try and ameliorate their issues that they have going on over there, especially all those protests and such. They need to create a boogeyman. They need to create a distraction. Of course, they already have that in the form of Russia and such. But I think they're not going to allow themselves to get overthrown. Macron and Starmer and these other leaders like Merz, they need to galvanize the people, and what better way than to effectuate war. And I mentioned to you guys that I'm working. I've been reading. I've actually, this is a book that I picked up here called "The Grand Strategy of the Habsburg Empire." And for my non-European friends, of course, they were a big empire lasting several hundred years. And I'm sharing that because, as a student of history, someone who really enjoys the topic, it's fascinating when you look at the historical narrative, and you look at the socio-economical, political nature and things that happened. And it's striking a lot of the similarities. This empire that I referenced, the Habsburg Empire, they were constantly at war from different fronts. Okay, that makes you think of other countries today, and they're constantly having to tap into external forms of credit, and it is interesting. In order to wage war, you need money. And so it goes into some of the nuances and some of the details and some inconvenient truths, if you will, surrounding that. And it's it's I mean, I just think about today, and in Europe. So I think to answer your question, I think you said the next 6 months. Yeah, for sure. Like kinetic conflict, false flag events, potentially. Iran and Israel are certainly going to go head to head. We know the neocons, really want to foment war and do regime change. So I think we'll see that. You mentioned Venezuela. I mean, I've been following that as closely as you guys have, but yeah, I suspect we're going to see conflict there. Yeah, and so the economy, where there's been talk of like a subprime auto loan situation going on. Obviously, the housing scenario. We're out here in California. I mean, housing is amongst the highest in the nation, as far as housing goes, and so it's striking how many people, are challenged there on that front. And I mean, that's just, those are just a few components to the overall picture, all the cracks that are going on. That being said, on a more positive note, this is still the best time so far to have been alive in a sense, although some of the baby boomers in the audience might say no, in the 50s, 60s, 70s, that was a good time. And I wasn't around them, but I suspect it was, especially your dollar went a lot further. But in turn, I know a lot of the topics that I have on my show and that you guys have and such are kind of negative. So I like what Francis Hunt always does. He always tries to end it on a positive note, or just in general. I think it's important to be, be positive more or less in light of what's going on, and recognize, we're not mired by a lot of the same challenges that people experienced, going back, pre 1900, in terms of, access to food, resources, healthcare, certain things that didn't even exist, modern. So overall, yeah, in light of what's going on, I think, we're fortunate to live in the world that we live in. But yeah, we have these leaders, and I think the only way that we're going to see change is if these people there's a complete purge. Not that I'm advocating, like some French Revolution style thing, but I think it's just so entrenched. It's like the Mexican cartel and Mexican government. I look at Mexico as a failed state. They're unable to effectuate control over the state, and you have massive corruption. Of course, corruption is all over the world, but I feel like that's a great illustration of a country that's been mired in that. And so, yeah, I think. It's just entrenched, like members of Congress. I know I'm going off on a monologue here, but it's very alarming how much influence AIPAC has. And I know people always mention Israel and such, and I'll make it abundantly clear. I'm not referencing your average Israeli or your average person who's Jewish. I'm referencing the government specifically, and I think it's very alarming the level of influence that government has had on ours. Not that our government has done wonderful things. We've done, horrendous stuff, as have a lot of countries. Every country's got blood on their hands, every people. But it is alarming with that. 9/11 you brought up, it's not what we've been told. And then also the conflict going on in Gaza. Feel free to chime in, because I know I'm just rambling on here, but I was going to mention that one of the things that really got me aware of the nature of what was going on over in Gaza was, I'm hearing first off, you started, because I come from a conservative background, you first start hearing about it, like protesters right at the schools and things of that nature. And I was never, overtly behind them, nor did I know a whole lot about it. But you would hear a lot about the ethnic cleansing going on over there from the left, and you would never hear it in mainstream conservative media like Fox or and look, I don't really watch Fox very much, or One American News, or some of these other channels, but they, from what I've gathered, and I could be wrong, are pretty over as far as their tendencies to support, totally blinking out right now, Zionism and such. However, so you've got the left bringing light to the genocide going on in Gaza and the things going on, and then you've got conservative/libertarian elements in alternative media sharing the same sentiment. So if both both parties are saying the same thing, but the only group that is saying what's going on is not the case is kind of an evangelical Christian Fox narrative that nope, Hamas is responsible. We're doing this. We're here to serve. I don't subscribe to that, and I think Netanyahu is extremely powerful, and I think Trump is concerned for his welfare. Max Blumenthal's done a great job of diving into that and dispensing people's take on what has gone on internally at the White House with Charlie Charlie Kirk at the time. So I think it's very alarming. But this is nothing new. I mean, this has been the norm throughout history. Other countries exerting enormous influence on other countries, and so yeah. Oh, and then I'll also add, I think we're going to see a return back to more of a conservative-based society. You look at then, and feel free to again chime in. You look at the 1960s and the sexual revolution. The pill. The social unrest, the civil rights, all these things that completely just eradicated the nuclear family, created a lot of schisms, and created the society that we have today. And unfortunately, I think those who, came of age in the 50s, 60s, 70s, well, I know the 70s we had inflation and such, 80s, enjoyed far better times than the youth today who are having to pick up and navigate this current financial backdrop that we're in. And so, and then there's a secularization by and large, and I'm not knocking people that are secular, but I think there is utility, and it's important to have some type of foundation, some compass, and religion, whatever that religion may be, offers a foundation there that I think is really critical for people. And so I think that it's like a pendulum. I think we're gonna see a shift back to that, but it will take things, i.e. the economy or war, for people to get back to that state, that more traditional state that for the past 5,000 years of human civilization that we've never had it where society is made up in the current fashion that it is made up.
Actually, we have been at this point before with heathenism. Remember Sumeria? Remember Babylon?
Okay, that's fair. You're okay. You're okay. Fair. You're right.
I can name a lot
holes.
more examples. We're actually not the irony is, being in a committed relationship and not having multiple partners and all of that stuff is unusual for men and unusual for the times. That this whole religious stuff, it's not normal. Throughout the thousands and hundreds of thousands of years of human history, we've always been polyandrous and polygynous. This is new. And the only reason why religion is used as a weapon to consolidate control is because back in the day, only the rich and powerful were able to get women and procreate. That it was only the kings and the king's court that were able to fuck the women. The other guys had to watch and be cucks essentially. And if they had enough money to buy a wife, they were able to buy a wife, right? You had to give, a dowry, right? So that's why I say it's unusual. This whole thing, we're gonna head back to a religious order, right? Sure. But that's not necessarily a good thing because it pushes us back to this time where we're suppressing people and suppressing their rights, suppressing their beliefs. Sure, we could all worship God, but who's to say you're actually serving God the right way? God wanted us to be free. He gave us free will for a reason. He knew we were going to rebel. He knew we were rebellious, but he still loved us enough to have mercy to create us. And we can always turn back to God. Just say the truth and be set free. Whatever your truth is. That's how you serve God. That's how you truly enter the light. And also to touch on Europe one more time before I forget, Italy is going to be the first one to fall. Italy's closer to Lucifer's Gate. This article comes out on Monday. But Lucifer's Gate, Italy's first. Then it's France. Then Germany. Then the UK. UK is actually in a better position than all of them, strangely. The UK is in a better position than the US for the G7. Because all the money right now, if you look at the British pound, it's flooding back to the UK. People are saying it's coming to the US. No, it's going to the UK. It's flooding that way. It's not coming here. It's leaving here. The dollar keeps going down, and the treasury keeps going out. The money's not coming here. The money's going there. It's going to the UK. And every credit card transaction you do has to go through London. London is the banking capital of the world. When you swipe that little credit card, it goes to fucking London. The money's going there, not here. I was watching this on Friday. Yesterday. I'm like, man, what the fuck? Money's going there. We had oil spike higher, war. Gold go higher. Insecurity. Silver go higher. Massive insecurity. British pound higher. Dollar weaker. Debt selling off. That tells you there's something bad coming to the United States. Something horrible is on the way. But yet nobody's paying attention. People don't understand the markets. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm positioning for that because I know something bad's coming here. And then like we're gonna go back to being religious, praising, Muhammad or Jesus, whoever you want to praise, whatever deity you believe. I don't really care. It's all right? It's all correct. Whoever you worship, it's all correct. It's all praying to the same God. It doesn't fucking matter. Just make sure you're in prayer. I don't think it's necessarily the right approach. I think it's good to have religion, it's good to have faith, but you have to truly believe. Like me, when I say things, I say it with such conviction because I believe my own bullshit. I don't listen to anything else. I don't look outside. I don't need to read a book to tell me like, oh, this happened because of this. Like, nah, that's kind of bullshit. I don't believe that. Like, my thoughts tell me what to believe, and I believe my thoughts because that's my truth. Anything external is Satan because, like, I can point the finger. I can say, well, this said that. It's their fucking fault. Well, that's the devil. The devil's the accuser, right? He accuses you. So we always look to point the fucking finger. We look everywhere to point the finger. But we never point it back at ourselves and look at ourselves that we are the great Satan in our own mind, because in the Goetia, there's 72 demons. But if you actually read the Goetia, which is the book of Solomon, which according to the Brotherhood, these are the only books actually written by the finger of God, the text of Solomon. In the Goetia, there's 72 demons. They exist in your mind. So do the 72 angels. In each quadrant of your brain, of the quintiles, there is 72 demons and angels. For example, Asmodeus, the demon who corrupted Solomon and brought down the temple. That is your Alpitamus, which is your reptile brain, your fight and flight. You have to control that, because if you become too much fight and flight, you become too defensive, you will fall into great chaos and great despair, like Solomon. But nobody understands what Solomon went through. Nobody understands Solomon was a magus. He was a magician. He was a master magician, not only a follower of God, he was a magician. As are we. We are magicians every day. Every day I put on a pair of clothing, it changes my appearance. It changes the way I look, brings out different facets of my features. That's magic in itself because it's an illusion. But people never stop and think critically about what magic is. They just say, oh, I made the pin disappear. Well, and that's an optical illusion in itself. You don't understand how I made the pin disappear, but you know that the pin is gone. But really, the magic in itself was sleight of hand. You weren't paying attention.
Pretty interesting stuff there. I mean, you know a lot more about that stuff than I do. I do find it interesting, as I've gotten to know you guys and do the show to learn more about the esoteric and I guess what would you call it, more metaphysical slash religious elements in society today. And you're reminding me of the topic that I've espoused and have shared with you guys, which is the kind of the cabal cultic, I mean, speak great, cult-like elements that exist and permeate some of these certain groups. And it's really fascinating. It's yeah, that is a rabbit hole in and of itself. So yeah.
Yeah, these people, they all study the Kabbalah. They all study the Jewish, what is it, Kabbalah, Tree
The
of Life,
Jewish
things like
Kabbalah, Tree
that.
of Life.
They study the esoteric stuff. They study like Masonry. I believe that most of them are like some type of Masons, right? You see Trump doing the Masonic handshake.
Inverted
Yeah,
Masons. They're not true
inverted.
brothers.
They're using the Mason name to corrupt it and point the finger at them that they're the bad people. When not all Masons are bad. We have Mason friends that are really good people and actually really trying to help people out. But when you have these people like Trump or Epstein or whoever the hell it is, they want to make the Masons look bad, and you put that Albert Pike was a Mason and all this, and
He wasn't a brother, though.
you just have all this, and it makes the Masons look bad, and no one looks back into history and to see like who actually started the Illuminati, which was a Jesuit,
Adam Weishaupt.
Yeah, he was a Jesuit. He was pretty much as a Catholic religion, and it's just you had Martin Luther in the 95 Theses. You have all this stuff that goes way back, way dated back, and yeah, they study all this stuff and they keep it and they pass it down and they do it verbally. They don't read. Everything's passed down verbally so that it can't be changed, because when you put it in a book, you can alter that. When you pass it down verbally, family member from family member,
You can't change that.
You can't change it. And they teach them that every day. They talk to them about it. They learn it from the minute they're kids until they're older. And they read books like Aleister Crowley, things like that. That's where they learn about these rituals. That's why we also should read these books to understand where the darkness is coming from. Because in order to understand the light, you need to understand the darkness. Because if you don't understand the darkness, you're gonna be,
you don't know what's the real light.
Yeah, and you're gonna walk directly into the darkness, not knowing, because you don't know. You have no knowledge of it. You're ignorant, and you don't know what they're talking about. And they could be doing some type of ritual, hitting your subconscious. You have this movie Ham coming out. It's a lot of symbolism in that movie, a lot of different symbolisms about sacrificing yourself for this.
And Lucifer's blood.
Like, you have him sacrificing yourself, and he's putting a syringe and he's shooting him up with blood to give him energy, to give him, like, I don't know, like some type of
the blood of Lucifer.
Yeah, and it's just, there's a lot of symbolism, and they use movies, they use songs. If you listen to the new song, there's a new song I just heard yesterday. I was getting my haircut. I heard this song. I think it's by Nas and by Jadakiss, and it talks about that Americans are basically mad that, you know, they're going to go into a technocratic, what we're talking about, technocratic thing, and it says that his people have been oppressed all the time. So basically telling you to shut the hell up and deal with it, that it's coming. It talks about a new world order in this song. It's a brand new song by like Nas and Jadakiss. They use these people. They use these people to, you know, pretty much give you what the messages are. And that's basically telling you to shut the hell up and listen and just take it. And you have a bunch of people that like rap, like hip hop, and like all this type of music that pushes these agendas. And they touch your subconscious because we're ignorant. We don't understand that our subconscious is the most strongest part of us. And once they touch the subconscious, that's it. It's there. No matter if your conscious mind doesn't understand it, your subconscious does.
And it reprograms your DNA. Your DNA becomes reprogrammed. With every lie they tell, you become an adaptive. Your DNA reprograms to incorporate the lie. So when you have sex and you pass it on to your kids are already adjusted knowing the lies that have been told, and it's already coded in their DNA. The C and the G in your DNA shift based on every lie that is told. And that's the transformation of humankind that we're currently seeing, is all the lies that have been told have transformed us into believing all these deceptions and has made us weaker, because every lie told builds up their credibility of the cabal. Now, the cabal lies often because, why? We don't understand the numerology, the joke. For example, Turning Point USA equals 88, Holy Roman Empire equals 88, Trump equals 88. Like, we don't understand the joke, right? Most of us. But those who do understand, as God said, those who have eyes to see and ears to hear, they know what the joke is, that they're playing a joke on you. And, you know, at the end of the day, do you have eyes to see? Do you have ears to hear? Do you truly serve God? Or do you truly serve a book? Because Rabbi Yeshua, who people call Jesus, he didn't write shit down. He didn't write that book. That was Constantine, the Council of Nicaea. He was taught it verbally from, you know, the great ancestors of the different rabbis. You know, we won't get into their names. And even his cousin, John the Baptist, taught him verbally, right, how to do the baptism. Why? Because when you master something verbally, you truly master it. Anybody can change a book and change wording in a book. Like, that's stupid. Like, you have to actually learn these things verbally so you really know it. Like Muhammad, he was taught the Quran how? Verbally. Right? It's in the book. He was taught it verbally. Who wrote down the Quran? Who wrote down the Sunnah? It wasn't Muhammad. It was his followers. And they changed it up. But the actual message of Muhammad, who is Jesus' cousin, was verbal. And it was passed down through the Sunnah. But yet nobody ever stops and thinks about that. Like with the New Testament, it was taught to Jesus from John the Baptist. They used to use bowls, right? Like spell bowls. They're called Essenian bowls. You can look them up today. Jesus had an Essenian bowl where he used to perform witchcraft, right? He performed magic with these bowls. He would burn frankincense and stuff like that and perform ritual, much like John the Baptist. But how was he taught that? Verbally. He was taught the prayers to say verbally how to heal people. It was taught verbally because your words can either destroy or heal. And then you can go back to Abraham. How was Abraham taught the Bible? How was he taught the Torah? Verbally, right? Gabriel told him, the archangel. So he had to master it. Everything was verbal. Nothing was this, because your throat chakra is the verbal. It's the truth. It's the sword. Your throat is the sword. That's what Michael used to destroy Lucifer and cast him to the earth, right? He used his voice. So when people don't understand the true aspects of religion, they don't understand anything. They just have this fairy tale in their brain, and it's deception, because you're like, well, somebody died for me, I'm going to go to heaven. No, that's not true. You may be the greatest person in the world. You may be absolutely sinless, but that doesn't mean you're going to heaven. No, because you don't truly understand God's word. You don't truly understand what you're supposed to do and your purpose. If you just live a sin-free life and you never experience life, you never gave back to the earth to actually build something credible to make it better, like God instructed us to do, be fruitful and make the world a better place, you truly never served God, nor did you ever learn his word. You just believed in this nomer, this illusion of what it is to be that was written by men that corrupt and infiltrate every aspect of your life. And that started with Constantine at the Council of Nicaea. Now, Constantine wanted people to be more subservient to him, right? He wanted people to wash his balls and suck his cock, right? So what did he do? He's like, all right, we're going to write this book. And we're going to say XYZ. Okay, great. Now, Constantine is the Holy Roman Emperor, right? And people are scrubbing his nuts and telling him how great he is and like, oh, thank you for freeing us and allowing us to practice this faith. Well, that's a trap. Kind of like today. You're free, my son, to pick any cryptocurrency you want. You could be an XRP billionaire. Oh, fuck it. Well, fantastic. I'm going to be rich. No, you're not. No, you're not. It's an illusion. They're giving you the hope and the optimism that you are a free man when really you're playing right into their hand. They're giving you an exit and you're like, okay, I'll take this exit because it's going to make me rich or it's going to make me free. No, it's neither. Because true freedom comes from profound thought. It comes from having great discourses like Discourse for Christian. It comes from brotherhood, sisterhood, whatever the fuck you want. That's true freedom. Serving God by making the world a better place. Go out and plant a lemon tree. That way the next generation can enjoy lemons. That's making the world a better place. That's truly serving God. Teach somebody how to fucking make money in the stock market. That's making the world a better place because now this person doesn't have to struggle to eat. Teach somebody how to think profoundly, how to look beyond the fucking veil of all this bullshit. We got to stop this shit. We got to start thinking for ourselves and start really practicing God's word, which is being fruitful, going forward, loving each other, fraternal brotherhood, fraternal sisterhood, really serving God, making the world a better place. Growing fruit trees, not fucking, oh, you can't plant a tree here because it goes against code SC5. Like, dude, off. We're free to do what we want. The earth is abundant. It's not scarce. Scarcity comes from the devil. This is all bullshit. We can do what we want. God said so.
I love it. I love it. Oh man.
That's my monologue, bro.
We've all had one today.
Yeah,
Oh
we've all had a monologue today.
gosh. Wow. We covered a lot of different topics. Yeah, I'm just learning like you guys and just trying to piece things together. Yeah, I'll be getting the popcorn and be at the front row seat for the show that's about to roll out here in the next few weeks, around the world and the country. So yeah, pretty fascinating time. Tony, Derek, how can people learn more about you and get in touch with you?
Well, you can check us out on our YouTube channel at Pigo's Trading Desk. We also have a website, pigostradingdesk.com, where we do like webinars. We haven't done any recently because we have like some things going on in our personal life. So we haven't been able to do any webinars as of recent, but we also have a Substack. It's Pigo's Trading Desk. We have a founders and we have a regular basic, and then we have one where we like give our opinions basically that are free articles, and we post our picks on our X every day.
Never financial advice.
Yeah, never financial advice, but we choose up to like five companies, and then we do like give like what we think that the S&P and the Dow Jones and all that's going to do. We post that on our X along with the link to like see what our models are predicting for the next day, which would be probably like 5 to 7 stocks, and it chooses. And we have 2 models that choose that every day, which is the Pillars of Hercules and Saint Germain.
And then we pick.
Yeah, and then we do our picks. But the Pillars of Hercules and the Saint Germain, those are behind a paid wall, so they're on our Substack. And yeah, we post our picks on X, and then we post a link to the Substack.
And we have a pretty good batting average, man. You've been a part of our webinars. You've seen we have a pretty good batting average of calling stocks. Like, we're very good at this.
Yeah, we're batting like 600-700 right now.
Yeah, but that's us picking a lot of stocks.
Yeah, like 15 stocks right now. We're going to limit it down to 5 now and try to get a better batting average.
Yeah, but 600 for 15 is not bad. That's not bad at all. And, it's all about making money and sharing this knowledge with people. Right now, people need to be aware that there's going to be a rug pull event. So how do you position yourself for that? Well, you look at the dollar. The dollar is probably going to boost higher, even though I don't believe in the dollar. It's going to go higher. You short the treasuries because the treasuries are going to go higher. They're going to sell off because of uncertainty in the U.S. You also play it to real assets. You play energy producers and you play miners. at least in the short term, there will be a day where you're going to have to pull and switch and go to the inverse ETS on the downside of those. That day is coming, but you need to watch for the reversal pattern. That's the true secret. And for anybody, if they want to read our book, Divided States of America, they can check that out.
We also have one for kids, which we're trying to use. My son is like, he's 6, so we're trying to use him as our little guinea pig to like try to teach kids about sound money, about gold and silver. So we created a book for them. Also, it's called The Pig of Monte Cristo. It gives like a little view of a Boston Terrier, our mascot, that goes through and basically learning the true value of money between, I think it's gold and silver in this book. And he like pretty much knows how he can buy stuff with a bone or something like that with
gold or silver bone.
Yeah.
And as a disclosure, we're not trying to piss anybody off or trigger anybody. We're trying to inspire profound thoughts, and it starts with pissing you off and triggering you. That's how you think profoundly, because you're gonna be like, "Oh, these guys are pieces of shit. They're talking shit on my president." Like, no, we're not. We're making you think about what we're saying. This isn't to trigger you. This is to create profound thought, because that is the greatest gift us in Christian can give to you, is the ability to think profoundly and think for yourself.
Yeah, this is about making America actually great again, not bullshit like Trump says, make America great again, come in and then fuck it up. No, This is about making it truly great and building through our kids, because we have to train our kids to be better people. And I have a 15-year-old daughter, I have a 6-year-old son, and it starts with them. It starts with me. If I don't fix myself, I can't train my kids or raise my kids to be better. They're going to come up to be the same piece of shit that I am. So it starts with you. Fix yourself, find God, actually find God, not just go to church and listen to whatever the hell your pastor's saying, because your pastor's probably either,
or your priest,
or he's probably either cheating on his wife, or if he's a priest, he's probably molesting his son, someone's son, or some shit like that.
Than molest.
Like, there's always something going on with stuff like this. So you have to just focus on yourself, focus on your friends around you. It's around you that you need to take care of, because most of the stuff doesn't affect us that they do. It's basically just keep your inner circle small, keep everybody that's good in there. Anybody that's bad, get rid of them. The minute they start throwing red flags, start watching it, start checking it, get that person out of your circle. Do not allow any evil in there. And like I said, work with the kids, and we need to be better, because if not, this fourth churning, when we go into the first churning, we restart, it's not going to be any better if our kids are the same and being raised by people like what's raised right now in America, where it's all racism, where you have different things like the Charlie Kirk thing, the George Floyd thing, and it's all being
Breonna
used.
Taylor's the other one you guys were thinking of.
Breonna Taylor, and then the white girl on the Ukrainian girl on the train.
Yeah,
you have all this being pushed where one person is doing it, but it's being blamed on the race. Is being blamed on a culture.
The ideologue.
It's all bullshit, because one person did it and they're blaming everyone. They're trying to put everyone in to this, and it's just trying to cause division, and it's working. The United States, a lot of people are weak-minded. We need to be stronger-minded, and we actually need to do our own research, not believe what anybody says. If they say the sky's blue, I don't give a fuck. Go out there and look for yourself. Go make sure it's blue. Do your own due diligence.
Even then, don't believe that bullshit. Yeah. It may not be blue. It may just be an illusion in your brain.
But it all starts with us. So we have to build ourselves up to be better and lead by example, because most of us are hypocrites and do not actually lead by example. So we have to start doing that. And we need to do that as a country. And it starts with us. And in order for us to do that, maybe other countries will follow, because it seems like we're the ones that lead it and they want to be like us. So we need to change here. And we don't see that happening, so this is what we're trying to do, and hopefully it works.
Awesome. Well, we will obviously be in touch and keeping each other posted as it relates to our thoughts. Tony and Derek, thanks for coming on.
Thank you, brother.
Quick ask: over half of you who watch the show regularly haven't yet subscribed. If you've enjoyed the show, you're finding value in it, subscribing is really the best way to support the channel. It's, of course, free. It literally takes 2 seconds, and it lets the algorithm know that this content matters. And of course, my commitment to you is going to be that I'm going to continue to bring on great guests, refine those questions. And of course, I'm always receptive to your feedback. If there's certain people that you'd like to have on, or certain questions, or this, that, and the other that you'd like to have as part of the show going forward, things of that nature, please let me know. I'm pretty easy to access. Anyhow, that's my commitment to you. If you can subscribe, that would mean a lot. Thanks.